What happens when the world's two largest superpowers, China and the United States, clash? Not with tanks or missiles, but with something as powerful: commerce. Now, trade wars may seem boring, but this one is turning up to be a big game changer, with implications for sectors, economies, and even your wallet. China has made a daring step. It has restricted the shipment of two important minerals, gallium and germanium, to the United States. Without them, entire industries may come to a standstill. So, why did China do this? What is their strategy? And how is the United States going to respond? Let us find out. Why would China just shut off something so important? To comprehend this, consider the larger picture. This is not a random choice. It is the outcome of years of rising tensions between China and the United States. Think of it as a pressure cooker, with tariffs, penalties, and technological limitations stacking up until China ultimately declares, "We are done playing nice." Now, let us discuss gallium and germanium. They are everywhere, including your phone, laptop, automobile, and solar panels. Gallium is essential for semiconductors and LEDs, whereas germanium is utilized in fiber optics and infrared technology. These materials are the secret sauce of modern invention, and without them, the electronic industry would struggle to function. Here is the thing. China manufactures 90% of the world's gallium. Let that settle in for a minute. 90%. Cutting off is more than simply uncomfortable. It is disastrous for everyone who relies on it. But why now? Why did China pick this time to pull the plug? For years, the United States has targeted Chinese technology businesses with penalties, particularly in the semiconductor industry. Is this an export ban? China is turning the script, demonstrating to the United States that two can play this game. Before we go any further, tell us whether you're enjoying the video. If so, please like and share the video, and subscribe to our channel for more videos on global development, power, and influence around the globe. Let us proceed immediately. And this is when things get even more strategic. This isn't simply about punishing the USA. It is about transmitting a message to the rest of the globe. China claims it is more than simply a manufacturer for your devices. We are the engine that propels the technology world forward. It's a daring approach, but it's working. But as China exercises its might, how about the United States? Let's see how this is affecting things on the other side of the Pacific. So, what happens if a vital supply chain suddenly fails? Chaos. That's what. And right now, American businesses are struggling to find out how to continue operating without Chinese supplies. Let's start with the major players, technology businesses such as Apple, Tesla, and Intel. These behemoths rely substantially on gallium and germanium for their goods. Take Apple, for example. Without gallium, building iPhones becomes significantly more costly. And the expense does not just disappear, it is passed down to consumers. So, your next iPhone may come with a significant price increase. And it isn't just technology. Renewable energy firms are also struggling. Solar panels, which are critical to the United States' green energy aspirations, rely on germanium. With supplies cut off, projects might be delayed, and costs could increase. Imagine attempting to combat climate change with one hand tied behind your back. That's how this feels. Even the defense sector is not secure. Military equipment such as infrared cameras and complex communication systems rely on these materials. Losing access to them is more than simply inconvenient. It poses a national security concern. Suddenly, the U.S. realizes how reliant it is on China. And it's not a pleasant sensation. But this is where things become worse. The ripple effect. It's not just large firms that are struggling. Smaller firms that source parts or rely on predictable pricing are also feeling the pinch. Rising material prices cascade down, affecting everyone, from producers to consumers. So, as U.S. corporations rush for answers, what is China doing? Spoiler alert, they are already 10 steps ahead. If you thought China's move to limit exports was brave, wait till you see their contingency plan. This is more than just cutting off resources. It is about changing the entire playing field. First, diversity. For years, China has sought to minimize its dependency on the United States. They've done it in two major ways. One approach is to strengthen trade links with other countries. Second, by increasing their domestic skills. Take the Belt and Road Initiative. This is not just an infrastructural project. It is China's method of establishing a worldwide network of economic connections. China has gained access to important resources such as lithium, cobalt, and rare earth metals through investments in Africa, Asia, and Europe. These collaborations help not only China, but also emerging countries, allowing them to participate in the global economy. This is a win-win situation. Except for those in the United States, China has been stepping up its innovation efforts. They are investing billions of dollars in research and development, looking for better ways to process materials and even replacements for gallium and germanium. It's as if they're constructing a fortress that is practically difficult to penetrate. And now comes the clever part. China is not only demonstrating its superiority by cutting off shipments to the United States, they are also making other countries think twice before antagonizing them. It's a significant shift on a worldwide scale. It's an excellent point you make. And I believe that many countries, including the United States, China, and others, have shifted away from that global vision and toward what we term a protectionist attitude. President-elect Trump now refers to it as America First, with the goal of making America great again while preserving domestic companies. And we're not alone in this, correct? I mean, China is doing the same thing. If you don't give us this, we won't give you that. However, while China strengthens its position, the United States is considering its next move. Let us see what they are working on. The first choice is apparent: mine more resources at home. But here's the issue. Opening a new mine is not a quick or easy process. Between environmental rules, legal difficulties, and the sheer expense, it can take more than a decade to make a mine operational. And the United States does not have a decade to spare. That is why they are looking to their allies. Countries such as Australia, Canada, and even portions of South America are stepping up to fill the need. However, it is not possible to replace China's supply chain supremacy overnight. It's like attempting to repair a bridge when the river is still flooded. It's chaotic, complex, and far from infallible. Then there is invention. The United States is investing extensively in synthetic alternatives and recycling technology. If they can crack the code on this, it might be game-changing. Imagine being able to generate gallium-like compounds without using a mine at all. Sounds futuristic, right? However, this is a long-term solution, and the time is ticking. Politically, the United States is doubling down on alliances like the Quad, which includes Japan, India, and Australia. The purpose is to offset China's dominance in the Indo-Pacific area. However, it is unclear if these coalitions can equal the magnitude and effectiveness of China's Belt and Road Initiative. This is no longer merely a war for resources. It's a war for worldwide influence. Speaking of global, let us zoom out and look at the big picture. This trade battle isn't simply between China and the United States. It is pushing the entire globe to choose sides. On the one hand, countries are aligning with China, attracted by its Belt and Road projects and expanding economic influence. On the other hand, some countries remain loyal to the United States, aiming to preserve the existing Western-led global order. And then there are the countries caught in the center, attempting to avoid being drawn into either group. Take Europe as an example. While many EU states have historically supported the United States, China's rising influence is difficult to ignore. The Belt and Road Initiative has created new trade channels and investment prospects, making Beijing a more appealing partner. But going too closely toward China risks alienating the United States, and many people are unwilling to take that chance. Smaller countries confront much more difficult choices. Aligning with one party may result in losing access to important commercial deals with the other. It's a delicate balancing act, and the stakes could not be greater. Let us not forget about global institutions such as the World Trade Organization. Their capacity to resolve trade conflicts is being challenged more than ever before. Can they adjust to this new reality, or are we going toward a fractured global economy? So here is where we stand. China and the United States are engaged in a high-stakes trade war, and the consequences are changing sectors, relationships, and the global economy itself. China is playing the long game, while the U.S. struggles to adapt. The fundamental question is, what happens next? Will these two superpowers find common ground, or are we on the verge of another economic Cold War? One thing is for sure, this is only the beginning. And when the dust settles, one thing becomes obvious. The world as we know it is evolving, and there is no turning back. We'd want to take a minute to thank you all for your comments and ideas. Your observations have always impressed us. Do you believe the United States can withstand the Chinese trade attacks? Can it really afford to let China go? Let us know in the comments section. If the United States suffers as a result of China's tiniest move, what is the point of this Cold War? Would you want to see more videos like this one? If so, please like, share, and subscribe. Until the next video, stay tuned.